Hello, my name is Katelyn Reid, and my UCLA application number is 708-364-856. The new public school that will be opening soon is a K through 8, and its mission is not only to reach high levels of educational attainment, but to also overcome the very notion of a minority by creating a cogent community among different minority groups, breaking down the boundaries between them and having them all come together as one. We plan to do this through a variety of strategies, but particularly through group learning, language and culture immersion, and also we want to implement culturally relevant and interdisciplinary teaching pedagogy. So first of all, to address the most basic and crucial need of the community that all students meet and hopefully exceed grade standards and meet proficiency levels, including ESL students, we would emphasize a lot of group work in the classroom. This allows students to collaborate with one another, and the continual exchanging and challenging of one another's ideas and answers stimulates divergent and innovative thinking as opposed to algorithmic or convergent thinking, which fosters creativity. And group work also enables more students to share their ideas and engage in the learning process, which in turn makes them feel worthy. And we would implement group work roles in the classroom, such as facilitator, calculator, recorder, etc., so that each student has responsibility and is included in the process and the reporting back process as well. We also think group work is essential for integrating ESL students. There are a lot of different theories bouncing around in terms of the best way to integrate ESL students into the classroom, but we believe that they should not be separated from the English proficient speakers, that we should take on a total immersion approach, having everyone grouped together regardless of language or skill level, so they can all learn from one another and practice their English with one another. So this would stray from a traditional lecture style teaching because it would be more active learning rather than passive learning, which I think that the lecture style teaching leads to. And also, group work is important for cultural and linguistic immersion. In the community, there's a wealth of cultures and languages represented. So our goal would be to build off this community asset by not only providing a sense or a space in the classroom for students and parents to preserve their own cultures and languages, but also to allow others to profit from them as well. Many underrepresented families are concerned that their cultures and languages will be lost in the Americanized education system. So we will address this by emphasizing cultural and linguistic immersion within the classroom. So through heterogeneous group work, students will learn to work across social groupings and function as a whole rather than as individual minority groups. And we should really take advantage of the fact that at younger ages, the barriers between people of different cultures are more permeable, and students can be prepared to work across cultural boundaries, which will be very beneficial to them later on in life, especially in our increasingly pluralistic country. In terms of language, it's much easier to learn a new language at a younger age. And with the wealth of people in the community who speak different tongues, this brings about an abundant opportunity for students to acquire and practice a second language, which is also a major asset later on in life. For example, a lot of Chinese families like to send their children to all Chinese schools to preserve their culture and especially their language. This would be the very thing we would try to overcome with this public school by assuring parents that they can send their children to our school and that their cultural and linguistic roots would not be lost. To go about keeping these languages, we would implement required language immersion classes, which would be led by parents, and they'd be held weekly as like small discussion groups for as many languages as is feasible. And seeing that low-income families are overrepresented in the unemployed population, we would provide minimum wage to the parents who choose to volunteer their time at these discussion sessions. And we do believe, though, that a lot of them would do it for free because it is a source of pride, and it's rewarding to know that your culture and language are being passed on through your child and through your child's peers and friends. Also, a lot of students are reluctant to speak their native tongue if their friends don't. So if their peers became interested in learning their language as well through these classes, then the language might go from being something to hide to being something of a source of pride. We would also like to engage in culturally relevant teaching pedagogy, that is, adjusting teaching methods to account for the diverse cultural characteristics of the students. And this gives importance to underrepresented backgrounds and heritages, making students feel valued and empowered. We also believe that culturally relevant teaching pedagogy engages students and helps them relate to the material more, because with designing problems and examples that highlight different cultural practices and touch on different cultural topics that students can relate to, it might keep their interest a bit longer. And in addition, we'd also like to implement small exercises on, a monthly basis or a weekly basis, like such as bringing in family treasure boxes, have each kid put together a box of things that are special to their family and may represent parts of their culture, like such as pictures or small objects, and share them with the class, or to do a family of the week type thing. Basically, really to celebrate the different backgrounds of all these students and try to implement them into the curriculum as much as possible. Also, we would like to implement interdisciplinary teaching pedagogy. This is where a common theme is studied in more than one content area, and we would work really hard to not only implement or integrate like language arts, social studies, science, which is the basic example, but also to get math into part of the mix as well, such as making math word problems about wages and labor rights, things like that, to really teach the students more than just math, but to bring in other topics as well. And then lastly, we think it's essential to have not only a very strong teacher community, but to have a strong teacher, parent, and staff community. It's important for there to be communication between teachers and then teachers and parents to best monitor the students, to recognize their achievement and help them with their struggles. We really think that knowing our students is key to being able to provide them with the most assistance when needed. And to do this, we hope to implement bi-weekly parent-teacher staff potlucks, where different families bring different dishes, maybe cultural dishes, maybe not, but just to get everyone to know each other and really come together as a community, because with the group work and the assignments that would go on in the classroom, hopefully the different students would form a community within the classroom, but we also want a community among the parents and the teachers as well. So this would help them come together and really get to know each other better. And also, we would like to have some sort of parent or teacher counselor as a volunteer liaison to go around to parents and teach them how to be an effective support system for their students or for their children. And they would touch on topics such as different learning strategies, nutrition, how to access resources, things like that. So this would be the public school that we're going to be opening, and we hope that it will be very successful. Thank you very much.